tell a story that says, sometimes I do a good job at this and sometimes I don't. Right. It's like you're deliberately introducing the wobble into the conversation. Universe, I know that there's a whole lot of things I want, and I know you've got them all lined up for me. But I want you to know that I'm not going to make it easy because I really don't feel deserving of all of that good stuff. And the reason I know I'm not deserving is because it's not coming to me quickly. And I think I figured out why it's not coming to me quickly. I'm not very good at this yet. Sometimes I'm good at it, and sometimes I'm not good at it. So you guys just keep lining things up and get it all in the vortex. And sometimes when I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying, you can just slip it through the crack for me. And I'll meditate as much as I can, and I'll sleep a lot, and I'll try to be distracted from the crappy job I'm doing with things. But I just want to be completely candid with you. I'm not very good at this. And so I know there's a lot of things in my vibrational vortex that I'm just not going to realize anytime soon. Because sometimes I'm good at it and sometimes I'm not good at it. Mostly I'm not that very good at it. I would like to be better at it, but I'm not that good at it. I'm really not that good at it. Some people are better at it than I am. And there have been little snatches in my life when I was a little better at it than others, but mostly I'm just not that good at it. I'm actually surprised that I'm as successful as I am. I must have done something really good in a past life because I'm really successful. Things happen well for me, but I've got this shoot myself in my own foot thing going on, and so I don't expect big things. I want big things. I want big things, universe. I want really big things. Here's my list, but I don't expect any of them to come because...
Sometimes.
Because exactly.
On and off.
So we exaggerated that a little tiny bit. Just a little tiny bit. And you're really on the right track as you are coaching people to tell a different story. You've just got to tell the story in a way that you believe it. See, what's happening to you is you're telling parts of your story that you're challenging right while you're telling the story. And that never felt right to you because when you told a story to your mother, she nailed you every single time. Do not fib to me. Do not say things that are not true. Do not make things up. Do not fantasize. That's been the way that most of you have been trained. And so it's not easy for you to tell a story that doesn't clearly define exactly what's been going on. But all that telling the story about what's been going on does is keep it going on. That's all that happens. You keep saying it and it keeps happening. You keep saying it and it keeps happening. And you say it's true. We'll put that on your tombstone. I told you. Sometimes. It's great fun, isn't it, to mold it into place and to get clear about who you are. It feels good to tell a story about something that you want, but here's something really, really important. Wow. This is the best conversation we've ever had about deliberate creation. It is. When you say something that you don't mean, you feel the discord in that so much. So you're speaking the case that we're speaking here, the wobble-free case, because you can't jump in the middle of a belief and change it just by saying it with different words. You can't even bring yourself to say things that you don't really believe, you see. And that really is a better thing than you know, because it doesn't matter if you say things you don't believe. There are a lot of people that sit here and they sound really good, but they don't mean it. We would far rather that you be accurately in touch with what you mean with your words, because now you know where you are. And we don't want you to give us the words that you think we want to hear. We want you to find the vibration that feels good when you find it. So how do you feel about the beliefs that you hold? How do you feel about the expectations that you hold? Esther said to us in the early days of our explaining this to her, but Abraham, it's true. It's true. This thing I believe, this thing I expect is true. And we said, we're not questioning that, but we have another question for you. Do you want it in your experience? Well, what's that got to do with anything? Everything. But it's true. We said, There are many things that are true that you want to experience, and there are many things that are true that you don't want to experience. We would suggest you keep the things you want to experience that are true active in your vibration while you deactivate the things that are true that you don't want in your experience. Deactivate them. How do you do that? By withdrawing your attention from them. Okay, so I'm not going to think about that thing that I'm thinking about. How's that working out? I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about this, because when I think about this, it really bothers me, and I'm not going to think about this. It bothers me to think about this. I'm not going to think about this. I've been thinking about this for far too long. I'm not going to think about this anymore. I want you to stop doing that, you say to your children. I don't want to see that again. And your children know what to say. They want to say, then look the other way. If you don't want to see it, then don't ask me to stop doing it. Just look away. And that really is our message to you. You could learn it from your children. Just look away. Well, that feels odd in a reality-based society, doesn't it? Because most humans have been sorting the realities, the manifestations, into piles. These are good piles, and these are bad piles, and these are not so good piles. And we say, but then by the time it's manifested, that's not when we want you to try to apply your focus. It's hard not to notice things that are around you if you've got a vibration that's active within you. So we're going to give you a little precursor here, and then we're going to open to any conversation that you want. The first thing that happens once you begin to sustain this alignment on this high-flying disc, the first thing that happens is emotions manifest that feel good. That's really the first thing that you're going to be aware of. And we so like calling those emotions manifestations because they so are. The next thing that you're going to notice is thoughts will begin occurring to you. Ideas will begin flowing into your mind. You'll feel clarity instead of confusion. You'll feel sureness instead of sort of awkwardness. You'll begin to notice that you just feel better in the moment. The world will look better to you. And the reason for that, we're just going to tell you, you're going to have to practice it to know it, to feel it, to really know it. But we'll give you the words about it. The reason that you feel clear, the reason things look better, is because you've achieved vibrational alignment with the source within you, and you're seeing the world through the eyes of source. You are now a blended being having this experience. You see what we're getting at? So people who are usually complaining won't show up so much in your life experience. And when they do, you won't feel inclined to help them beat the drum of what's going wrong. You're going to find and like your alignment. Have you been listening to us enough to know that there is a vibrational content that is the basis of your point of attraction? It's not subject, subject, subject. It's vibrational frequency, vibrational frequency, vibrational frequency. In other words, if you're on the Henri disc, we've been describing the emotion that you might be feeling in a moment as actually selecting a vibrational point of attraction. We're calling those your point of attraction, your grid, or called it so many different things you don't know what we're calling it. But it's the place where you stand. It's spinning because it's attractive. It's calling to it other things like it. So let's say that, like on the emotional scale, you could be on the fear disc, or you could be on the Henri disc, or you could be on the happy disc, you could be on the joy disc, the loving disc, the anger disc, the resentful disc, the fear disc. In other words, you can choose your point of attraction, and in fact you do, all day, every day. So let's say that for whatever reason, you're on the Henri disc. Don't you notice when you're on the Henri disc, when Henri is the vibrational frequency that you've got going on, that the subject matter can skip all over the place? You're Henri about the way your children are behaving. You're Henri about the way your spouse is behaving. You're Henri about the way your government is behaving. You're Henri about the way traffic is behaving. You're Henri about the way the weather is behaving. You're Henri about the way the cat behaved. In other words, it doesn't matter what the subject is. The subject is producing Henri-ness within you. And most humans do not understand that you can control the Henri factor. You can control how many ornery things you rendezvous with or how many happy things you rendezvous with. But you can't do it after you've rendezvoused, because after you've rendezvoused, there's so much momentum going. Well, you can, but you usually don't. After you've rendezvoused with something that makes you feel ornery or makes you feel fearful or makes you feel angry or defensive or guilty or blameful, there's enough momentum going that other thoughts like that are going to join them. Haven't you noticed that? Ever had a conversation around dinner and somebody gets started and you all sort of pile in? And before you know it, you're explaining things that happened 20 years ago that felt just like that. And one might say, well, what's that got to do with now? We say everything is the same vibrational frequency. You just reactivate it again. So every thought that's ever been thought still exists. You have the potential of activating anything right here, right now. And it doesn't take very much focus upon it in order to activate it with enough momentum that it begins to be a point of attraction for you where things like it are going to start showing up. And you know what the first thing that shows up once you find yourself spinning on one of these discs? The first thing that happens is more thoughts like it join it. Momentum. And the next thing that happens, and right on the heels of it, is you have an emotional, we're going to call it an emotional manifestation. Because emotion is a manifestation, isn't it? Don't you want to call it a manifestation? You can feel it all through you. Esther was watching a movie on the airplane the other day, and she found herself emotional. It wasn't even happening on her airplane. It was just something that she was focused upon. The thought was producing emotion within her. We've been watching Esther. She'll be doing a focus wheel or just writing statements of intent. And again, she will say, I can say that better. I can say that better. Even when someone else would read it, it would look pretty good. But Esther can feel that there's a little hidden agenda in it, or there's a little trying to overcompensate for something, a little too much efforting in it. And that's a true way for you to realize that there's a little discord in your vibration. When you're trying too hard with your action, even if you're trying with action to think, does that sort of make sense? If you're struggling, there's resistance. So it's about ease and flow. You'll see as we play along today. So what do you want to talk about? So if you've been following us for a while, you've been reading books. We've written lots of them. Stuffed them full of processes, lots of them. And today we're going to offer to you a process that we want you to know trumps all of them. Doesn't render them ineffective. It's just the process of all processes. Because it's the process that will accomplish the most for you. It will get the most done for you. It will put you in the strongest place of positive attraction. And it's the easiest thing to do. Sort of like a magic pill, it seems. But it will take your deliberate attention and your readiness to find resonance with who you are. Have we convinced you so far that you create your own reality? Have we convinced you so far that you live in a vibrational universe? Have we convinced you so far that your vibration matters? And have we convinced you that the better you feel, the higher flying you are, that the better your point of attraction is in terms of the more you will like what begins to manifest? We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. And we are happy that we have rendezvoused with you on a vibrational level that has helped you to find resonance with who you really are for the most part. You are, and we're not kidding you even a little bit, forever changed as a result of this vibrational excursion that we've all been on today. You will never have an encounter with anyone, whether it's those that you've been encountering a lot or whether it's someone new coming into your experience. You will never have those experiences in the same way as you've had them before, because your vibration has shifted. It is our desire that as a result of this conversation, that you are walking away with a handful of things really solid within you. And those things are these. You are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe who has control over the vibration that you utter. And law of attraction is responding constantly and steadily to the vibration that you are practiced into being. You have the ability to practice your vibration into increasingly good feeling places. And that's the only thing that you have to do consciously, is care about feeling good and practice your thoughts into good feeling places. Do it the easy way, first thing in the morning. Play with this for 30 days, and it is our promise you will understand exactly what we are talking about. The level of clarity that is upon the brink for you. You are on the verge of such insight and clarity.